we're going to start this Q&A. If I have a couple of questions for you, Fernando.
No, yo siempre me he preguntado por qué hago cine, ¿no? Y con el tiempo, bueno, hago cine porque quiero comunicarme con los demás.
So he's always wondered, like, why did he make films? And he makes films because he wants to communicate with other people.
Y por eso trato, no quiero decir que lo logre siempre, de expresar la complejidad de cada uno de nosotros.
And I always strive to express the complexity in every one of us. Although he tries to do this, like, but he's not sure he always makes it.
Porque pienso que la vida, la realidad, bueno, es muy compleja y no trato de hacer un cine didáctico, un cine que comporte una moraleja, sino que emociona al espectador y después de la emoción provoque una reflexión.
Yeah, so he tries to make a film that is not didactic, but is more of a complex cinema that provokes a reflection and is emotional. And
por eso la mayoría de las películas que he hecho han sido muy polémicas. A algunos les gusta mucho, a otros no les gusta nada, y yo pienso que eso es bueno.
so all his films are very, I guess, polemics, and like a lot of people don't like them, and a lot of people like them.
Okay, another element that you always have in your films is having this part of Cuba, which is old Havana. And many say that when you go to Cuba and you see these buildings falling apart, or people living in this, they call it, I haven't forgot the name in Spanish. It's just a big building with so many families living in the solares. Sorry, I forgot the word in Spanish. So it's just imagine this building, and you have like 50 families, and you can see in the film here, and then the cousin comes arrives, so the nephew, etc., etc. So my question to you is, why do you wanna, or I don't know, why is you're so interested in that part of Havana in particular?
Porque es La Habana que más me gusta a mí.
This is the part of Havana that I like the most.
Y creo que de alguna manera no es La Habana que se muestra en los medios masivos de comunicación en Cuba y fuera de Cuba.
And this is not the part of Havana that is shown frequently in mass media, even in Cuba or outside of Cuba.
Generalmente de Cuba, en la prensa internacional y en nuestra prensa también, se muestran los grandes acontecimientos, pero no el día a día de la cotidianidad.
Yeah, so mass media shows, like, you know, the big things that happen, but not really the day-to-day life, and that's what he's interested in.
Y bueno, yo camino mucho por La Habana. Yo digo que esa es mi lugar en el mundo, ¿no? Y camino mucho por La Habana para compartir esa realidad, porque creo que es en esa realidad donde se manifiesta mucho más claramente la idiosincrasia del cubano, de los habaneros.
So he likes to walk a lot, and this is the reality that he likes to experience, and he thinks that by walking and like experiencing this reality, this is how he understands the idiosyncrasy of the Cuban people and the people from Havana.
Es innegable que la realidad para una parte que yo considero que es la más popular en mi ciudad y en el país, son condiciones muy duras, ¿no?, de sobrevivencia, como muestra la película. Pero también en ese contexto hay muchas muestras de solidaridad, de amistad, de espontaneidad, de naturalidad, que es muy importante.
So in these very harsh living conditions that he understands the reality of our country, he also discovers solidarity and spontaneity and friendship and all of these things.
Con esta película yo tenía un objetivo que no sé si se logró, que es que al inicio los espectadores sintieran ciertos prejuicios hacia la actitud de los personajes, cómo se comportan, cómo los ven, pero que poco a poco, en la medida en que se desarrolla la película, fueran entendiéndolos, comprendiéndolos y al final no los juzgaran, sino que los entendieran.
Yeah, so when he started the film, when the film started, he thought like he would provoke, the characters would provoke maybe like judgment in people. So, but he hoped that by the end of the movie, the people would like have abandoned, like the audience would have abandoned the judgment.
Thank you. I think let's go to the audience because he's here to share the film with you as well too. So we have a question here.
Two questions. In the end, when it goes snowing, where did you wind up? And how come the dishwasher guy was always staring at the map for so long in the beginning? He's like, that was like a long period for him to stare, like an hour.
Can you repeat the questions in the mic, please?
Okay, so we're gonna repeat the question.
Repeat the question in the mic, please.
Okay. So the first question was like, where did he end? ¿A dónde fue? ¿Por qué está la nieve? ¿En qué parte fue? And your second question was, why he's always staring at the map at the beginning? For so long. Entonces la pregunta es, ¿a dónde se fue el personaje? Tu personaje al final, ¿dónde termina? Y la segunda es que, ¿por qué mira tanto y por mucho tiempo al mapa?
Miguel es un personaje muy introvertido, muy misterioso.
So Miguel is a very introverted person, very mysterious.
En alguna medida es una contraposición a Diego. Diego está inmóvil en la cama, pero es todo dinamismo. Y él, que puede moverse, sin embargo, está siempre en el mismo lugar.
So it's kind of like in contraposition of the other character, Diego, who's in bed and cannot move, but however, he has a lot to express. But Miguel, on the contrary, he can move, but he doesn't do anything, so he's a very passive character in that way.
Su sueño es viajar a los Estados Unidos. Hay muchos cubanos que sueñan con ir a los Estados Unidos, pero les es muy difícil porque tienen que aspirar a una visa, etc. Y Miguel pasa su tiempo viajando en el mapa, no en la realidad.
Yeah, so the dream of Miguel is to go to the US. A lot of Cubans actually have this dream of like going to the US. So he just like spends a lot of time, instead of like leaving, dreaming about going to the US.
Al final la visa llega, cuando él llega bajo la lluvia y está el sobre, esa es la visa de Estados Unidos. Y bueno, al final está en algún lugar de los Estados Unidos, no sé en cuál.
So he finally got his visa in the rainy scene when he gets home, and yeah, he ends up in the US somewhere where there's snow.
Nosotros queríamos que fuera en una McDonald's real, pero nos comunicamos con las McDonald's y nunca respondieron. Por eso creamos la Wonderland.
So they wanted to put him in a McDonald's store, but like in a real one in the US, but they communicated with them, like contacted them, but they never replied. So that's why they created this Wonderland kind of store.
Porque debo decirles que yo viví una escena parecida. Mi hijo mayor emigró a los Estados Unidos.
So he lived a very similar scene, like his oldest son immigrated to the US.
Vive allí, ha hecho su vida muy bien, trabaja en un banco.
So he lives there, he has had a good life, and he works for a bank.
Pero yo recuerdo que la primera vez que pude ir a verlo, él ya tenía un carro y me llevó bueno, íbamos por una carretera esa de los Estados Unidos en la madrugada. y nos entró hambre y de pronto en medio de la nada encontramos una McDonald's.
So the first time he went to visit his son in the U.S., they were like on a highway and they were like very, very hungry, and then finally they found a McDonald's in the middle of the highway.
Y ahí en el medio del highway estaba nevando, un frío tremendo, y éramos solo los clientes, él y yo. Y el que nos estaba sirviendo, yo lo vi y yo dije, ese es o cubano o latinoamericano.
So it was really cold and it was snowing, and then they got into the McDonald's, and then he looked at the guy, like it was only the two of them at the store, at the McDonald's, and he looked at them and, oh my God, this guy has to be Cuban or Latino.
Y a mí no se me olvida el silencio de la nieve cayendo, la noche, y no sé, eso me dio cierta melancolía. Y extrañé mucho el ruido de La Habana, la gritería, todo eso. Y por eso la película termina así, en silencio.
Yeah, so it was very the silent, like he remembers the silent, and in comparison to like the noise in Havana, everybody shouting all the time. So that's why, like, that's what touched him to like make this scene like that.
What prompted you to create the characters that you did? Like Fefe, Miguel, all the characters. Where did they come from? Were they people that you had known at some point in your life? How did you come up with them?
Did you guys hear the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Sí, la película comenzó cuando un día tocó la puerta de mi casa Abel Rodríguez y se presentó, me dijo, mire, yo no soy guionista de cine, yo trabajo como jurista, pero me gusta escribir y le tengo una historia.
So the film started when somebody knocked on his door. Yeah, his name is Havana, and he's not a script writer or anything. He's actually a judge, and he said like, "Excuse me, I don't work in films. I'm not a script writer, but I have this story."
Yo la leí y no me gustó, pero él me dijo, tengo 10 más. Y entre esas 10 estaba la historia de Miguel y Diego.
So he read the story, but he didn't like it. Then the guy said like, "I have 10 more." So he read them all, and he liked this one with Miguel and Diego.
Yo creo que conociendo a Abelito, hay mucho de él en el personaje de Diego.
So if you know Abelito, who's the scriptwriter, there's a lot of him in Diego's character.
Pero cuando trabajamos juntos el guión, fueron surgiendo otros personajes. Yo conozco a muchos jóvenes que son como Justice Lady, a la mujer policía. Yo conocí una mujer policía así una vez, que tuve que ir a una estación y ella se comportaba así como si nada.
So yeah, like they work together in the characters, and like a lot of them are inspired on people that he actually knows. Like there's a police woman that he knows that is like that behave like this, and that he actually met her at a police station, and somebody like you know the other woman.
Sí, debo decir que para el rodaje nosotros recorrimos como 25 solares y en cada uno de ellos fuimos comprobando que estaban los personajes, se repetían uno.
So we went around location scouting for this kind of solar, we call them in Cuba. They're like a big house divided in like smaller rooms where different families live. And then they went like to 25 of these solares, and in each one of them they met somebody like these characters. They were like represented in all of these solares.
Now that we're talking about your characters, I think we know that you work with a lot of non-professional actors. And why is that?
Bueno, no sé, porque, a ver, en esta película nosotros queríamos dar una impresión de realidad y era muy difícil porque digamos que el 75% de la acción ocurre en un cuarto cerrado y con actores.
Yeah, so like he says like they wanted to give like a sense of reality or realism, and like that's why like choosing people who were not actors like work for him. 75% of the film actually happens in this, you know, like in this location and kind of in a room basically. So that's why they chose like real people.
Y todas las escenas en exteriores, en las calles, sí las filmamos de manera documental, con cámara oculta y el actor principal, Patricio Wood, caminando por las calles como un transeúnte más. Es decir, que son escenas documentales.
Yes, and the scenes that are outside, like they're like kind of documentary scenes, just shot with a kind of a hidden camera and just the main character coming and going.
Pero no exagero si yo digo que La Habana es un gran set cinematográfico. Ahí a todo el mundo le gusta actuar.
But he wouldn't be exaggerating if he said like, oh, Havana, like this whole city is like a more like location, like a set. Everybody likes to act and be in a movie.
Recuerdo que en la escena final, cuando Miguel sale del supermercado, nosotros filmamos todo eso con una cámara que iba directo hacia los transeúntes. Y generalmente todos se dejaban filmar, no miraban, seguían, algunos sí saludaban, se reía, y el único que dijo no fue un extranjero.
So after he leaves the supermarket, that you see that scene that has like, you know, very close up to the face of the people, like they shot that like just walking, and then people would be like, you know, just not reacting, not doing much, kind of like the perfect actors, except for one foreigner. He was the only one who said like, no, got it.
A little bit angry.
Any other questions in the audience? Okay, we go back there and then you. Sorry, go ahead.
Can you tell us more about the young woman, El Joven? Is she a non-actor? She's so powerful. How did you find her?
Bueno, fue haciendo un casting. Recuerdo que estábamos en la oficina y la mamá que trabajaba en la oficina de al lado se apareció y nos dijo, ustedes están buscando una muchachita de 15 años, esa es mi hija.
So they were doing a casting for this character, and then like in the office right beside their office, there was a woman working, and she said like, are you looking for a 15-year-old girl? Because I think I have your character as my daughter.
Y la citamos para el día siguiente, pero a los 15 minutos se apareció ahí la muchacha.
So they said, okay, she can come tomorrow, but no, the girl came like in 15 minutes, she was there.
Y recuerdo que, bueno, nos gustó mucho cómo era ella, incluso la misma situación, nos dijo, si quiere le canto, y se puso a cantar la canción que no estaba en el guión de la película y lo agregamos.
So she said like, yeah, if you want I can sing, and then she decided to sing this beautiful song that you see in the film.
La historia es que ella se había presentado a la Escuela Superior de Arte de Actuación y no entró, la habían rechazado.
So she tried to get into the acting school, and she was, they didn't take her, they didn't accept her.
Y antes de venir para acá tuvimos la noticia de que en el Festival de Biarritz le dieron el premio a la mejor actuación femenina. She's happy now.
Okay. And just so before he came to Vancouver, got news that the young girl got the best actress in a famous film festival in Biarritz, France. So there you go. Life, eh?
Mira, una buena pregunta. Nosotros hubiéramos querido que estuviera más deteriorado desde el inicio.
Yeah, so that's a good question. He wanted him to be really bad, like looking really sick, basically.
Pero Jorge Martínez, que es el actor que lo interpretó, él vivió una situación personal muy similar a la de la película. Él estuvo enfermo de cáncer del pulmón y estuvo prácticamente en fase terminal. Y por lo tanto no podíamos hacer que estuviera más delgado, etc., aunque él bajó de peso por un problema de periodo. Pero sí nos interesaba que él reflejara la emoción de lo que había vivido en el personaje.
So the actor actually went through a really bad, he had like lung cancer. So when he was casted and they were filming the movie, they didn't want him to like lose weight, or, because of his health, he had been through like that. And that's why, like, what was important for him was that he expressed emotionally what the character was about and not so much the look.
And I guess going through the cancer and all treatment, etc., he knew how to express those feelings when he is sick of a terminal illness, like here.
El balón de oxígeno de la película es de él.
Yeah, so that oxygen tank actually belongs to him because he's been through, terminal illness.
Okay, any other questions?
Just wonder what's the involvement of the Cuban government either approving this or funding it or not being happy with it?
No, la película es una coproducción con España y es 50% de España y 50% del Instituto de Cine de Cuba.
Yeah, so it's a 50-50 co-production between Spain and the Cuban Institute for Film.
Es decir, la película para exhibirse en Cuba fue aprobada desde el inicio por el Instituto de Cine.
So yeah, so it's been shown in Cuba. It was done by the Institute of Film, so it's approved.
Tengo noticias de que a niveles más altos la película no ha sido muy bien acogida, no ha gustado mucho porque la ven como una película contestataria.
Yeah, so like he's heard that at like higher levels of government they didn't like the film because it's a little bit contestatory.
Pero la película fue exhibida normalmente en los cines y fue polémica también para el público. También hubo parte del público que la aceptó y parte del público que no le gustó por la manera en que refleja la realidad.
Yeah, so it was shown in all the cinemas in Cuba, in all the theaters, and like it was polemic. So a lot of people didn't like it and didn't like his way of approaching or reflecting reality, but a lot of people liked it.
Pero nuestro gran problema ahora es Donald Trump.
I think you understand that, right? So, no translation for that. I think we have time for our last question. We have to go home. So I see a person there. Can you just scream your question?
What was the budget on the film? Primero, muchas gracias para el cine. What was the budget on the film, and what kind of equipment were you using? Etcétera, etcétera.
Hicimos la película con el dinero que dio Ibermedia. Ibermedia es una institución iberoamericana que radica en España y que contribuye a desarrollar el cine en Latinoamérica.
So the funding came from the Ibermedia program, which is a Ibero, so like Spanish and Latin American. It's fun. So it's based in Spain, but yeah, the money came from there.
Ibermedia dio $50,000 y el Instituto de Cine Cubano puso toda la infraestructura, es decir, los camiones, cámaras, comida.
Yeah, so the Cuban Institute for Film like put like all the trucks and all the equipment and food and everything else.
Y la postproducción, es decir, la mezcla, toda la postproducción se hizo en Cuba y solamente la mezcla final de sonido se hizo en España con un poco de dinero que vino de un distribuidor suizo que la precompró. Pero con ese poquito de dinero logramos terminarla en España.
Yeah, so most of the post-production was done in Cuba. Only the very final mix and the sound mix was done in Spain with a little bit of money that somebody, a founder from Switzerland, gave them.
Well, I think we've run out of time, unfortunately. So, you know, thank you very much for being here, for sharing your time with Fernando. Fernando, thank you very much. Muchas gracias for being here. Vancouver loves your films, as you can see, and we hope to see more. We're not only working on a new project, so we might see it in next year, maybe. Who knows? We'll see if he gets the funding or not from, I don't know, maybe we have...
Es muy cálido Vancouver y el público de Vancouver.
Yeah, so Vancouver is very warm and very nice, the public.